This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so we were talking with Kevin about different ways that he's trying to bring his sarcoidosis under control. A lot of it does have to do with diet, cutting out sugars and things like that, we're told. Kevin, what else have you cut out, if you don't mind my asking?
At the last meeting, I shared that I cut out alcohol. So I categorize that as a pro-inflammation component. Right, stop doing that. I cut out all processed meats. So no pork, no hot dogs. Obviously, I haven't had a hot dog in 10 years. Well, a couple. If I'm going to be honest, but sausage, ground beef, just really clean chicken and salmon and tuna for protein.
Same as me.
A lot of fruit and vegetables, more vegetables than fruit. That's kind of a shift for me. Really looked at the non-pharmacopoeial side. So I'm taking an oxidative stress reducer. I'm taking alpha-lipoic acid, vitamin D. I'm waiting to get my blood work back, but my calcium's okay, so I'm not really that concerned about the dysregulation right now. Lots and lots of water, 1 cup of coffee, or 5 cups of tea. So yeah, it's been I'm, in addition to the 40 milligrams a day of prednisone, something for heart rate control, something for my potassium, something for all those things tearing up my stomach, and something for
bananas for potassium.
No, the doctor's like, you'll need 5 bananas. I'm like, I'm not doing that many carbs.
You can
I've been trying banana tea, so I gotta look at the potassium level in banana tea, which I've been trying to do to, kind of counteract the sleep disruption.
1 banana a day won't hurt you.
I'm sorry?
1 banana a day won't hurt you.
Oh, I know. That's usually what I have.
I just think that
I'm saying for my body weight, my size, the level that we're trying to maintain, I would need 5 bananas to get that much potassium in my body. So rather, there's other things I could eat or take a pill. I'm like, fine, just give me the pill.
Yeah, like green leafy vegetables.
Which I've been doing, and the potassium hasn't moved, but I can, I'm following all my blood work and following all of my other things. And then the prednisone basically made me crazy.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
my family was like, oh my God, like having like episodes and
like incredible.
It was
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, and I'm living with my 83-year-old father in the familial home. He wants to age in place, and mom passed 4 years ago. And this A, B, and C, if I'm really honest, I wasn't present to the effect sarcoidosis was having on me in the background. Mm-hmm. I mean, it stole 10 years of my life.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It was like this undercurrent just tearing me down as, I'm, sliding from being a director at Siemens and, starting a business and starting another business. And, now I'm living, it was just like a constant, it was killing me. I didn't recognize the source. I just felt, hey, something else to overcome. Always enjoy the struggle. So I'm getting really clear with that. And
have you tried Headspace?
What's that?
Wendy?
Have you guys tried Headspace? The app?
No, my Headspace is a very scary place.
That's like me. I tell people, don't go in my brain. You don't want to be in there for very long. Dan, how are you doing with their sarcoidosis?
I'm sorry?
Dan?
Did you say Dan or Wendy?
Yeah,
Dan. That's okay. How are you feeling? Have you been definitively diagnosed, and how are you doing?
No, they Short answer is no. I don't have a good answer. Sarcoidosis is what the pulmonologist thinks I have, and a couple doctors told me it is not cancer, so quit talking about cancer.
Yay, Dan.
So yeah,
That's
so
always
that's all I can go with. But I'm sorry.
that's always a good thing. Not cancer.
Yeah. Yes, it's still scary. I don't feel good. I mean, I don't know. A lot of it's mental too, though.
Yeah.
Aside from the physical feelings of, I already have anxiety too. And then I have like a sore back. I have a spleen that bothers me from inflammation. Um, the anxiety alone is enough, and then you throw on this inflammation on top of it, and you just feel like total crap. And most people can't really understand how you feel. So
It's you look fine, right? You don't look sick.
yeah,
So
Right.
right.
worry about it, right? Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
Right,
I
and
get
that's
it
what
too. Finally,
yeah,
forever.
I get it from everybody. And you know what? For any of us to even think that our family could come close to even understanding a small bit of what we're going through, even though we wish they could, that's just not possible.
Right.
And
But
you
we got
need
a family,
to,
Kathleen.
I'm sorry, what, Wendy?
We've become a family here.
We have, which is super important. And, I've always felt guilty for taking time out for me. So by time out for me, I don't mean going to get my hair done or my nails done. Literally spending the day on the couch or spending the day in bed or something like that. And I'm going to tell you honestly, I've had sarcoidosis now for, oh God, it's got to be close to 15 years, and I probably have had it since I'm 17, if I can go back on what I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and just a whole bunch of other things. I've always felt guilty for taking a time out. And that's so not good. You have to, and I can't tell you how to allow yourself to do that. Only you can in your life, unfortunately. And especially when I had, when my boys were younger, my boys are now 23 and 25. Only one lives at the house, but there are days where I will take a time out. Or actually last week, because I went through, or a week and a half ago, I went through a big stress factor. My husband let somebody in my house without a mask and without gloves that we don't know.
Right, and it's
So
scary.
it was not only scary, Wendy, it was very, I got myself into such a state that I shot myself into a flare. So, of course I blamed him.
Kathleen, when I was on when I was on the webinar last night with Inspire, that's
Mhm.
what the two talkers were talking about, exactly what you were talking about. But they weren't saying what you were saying. They were saying they were extremely afraid of somebody bringing the COVID because it was making them a lot, it was harder for them to survive.
And I agree with that, Wendy. I'm going to be honest with you. I am scared. I have not seen, I had, similar to Kevin, but I don't have a defibrillator. I have cardiac sarcoidosis, but at this point they just put in a loop recorder, which I'm happy with, if that makes sense. But February 25th of this year, that was put in, and I have been in my house or on my property since then. I have not ordered out food. I can't even think about ordering out food, even though I think this weekend I may want to try and get over that hump. So if you see it on my Facebook, guys, that I ordered out food, you can go, yay! I guess, what's that, Kevin?
One step at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of it. I can't even think about going out, and let's say we all lived in the same area, meeting you guys for a drink or for food. That is so scary, Wendy. That's so scary to me.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing with that?
Well, I can speak on that issue.
Who's
Go
that?
ahead.
I've been unfortunately working this whole time, but I have that same anxiety about who comes in my house because I'm protecting myself at work to the best of my ability, and my home is the only safe place. And my husband freaked me out by bringing his cousins in the house and letting them not wear masks. So I understand and I feel exactly how you do. Nothing came of it, obviously, but it's still very scary with, the COVID. It can affect us so much worse than other people because we already have lung diseases, and that's where it goes.
And Jennifer, I totally agree with you. I mean, since the person came into my house, he was a technician, no gloves, no mask, touched my front door, touched my back door, touched my kitchen sink nozzles, touched my counter. To me, I believe that I'm in quarantine for 14 days. That means that my 14 days ends Friday at about midnight. So, and I just had a girlfriend that in Minneapolis, non-sarcoidosis, that was wearing N95 masks, and she's positive.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I'm
scary.
wearing, and
Oh,
I
wow.
worry about it anyway.
You want to hear? Okay, this is what happened with me. I had a 2 week thing of visits to the doctors, and I ended up getting a viral infection because I'm on prednisone. We're on drugs that are suppressing our immunity. The doctor
Yes.
said, I said, please get me off of these drugs. I said, I want to be off of this prednisone. I mean, I don't, I thought I was getting COVID,
Mm,
you
yeah.
know?
Well,
And
you got to
it
keep in
hit me
mind
so
too that
hard.
flares
He
happen when we're
couldn't test
stressed.
me. He couldn't test me because
What's
I didn't have a cough.
yeah. Jennifer, what were you saying?
I was saying when we have flares, they can be brought on by stress and anxiety, which is exactly what situation we're all in right now. I just went to the doctor myself, and I was telling the receptionist we're all gonna have some form of like PTSD because the daily anxiety of trying to keep ourselves safe is exhausting on top of our disease.
Exactly. But let me tell you, I don't know what I would do without exercise. It's the number one thing. I push myself. I do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and move. I got to do it for my heart. I got to do it for my brain. I got to do it for my spine. It's just my lungs.
It is true. Moving does make things work longer. Those of us that can, I guess that's for us to do it as long as we can. That's what I tell my residents when they start slowing down and feel bad about it. I say, eventually everything's going to stop working, but if you're still using it, it's going to still work on some level.
I was going to tell you guys this when I was on the web and listening to the webinar. It was very interesting because I didn't know about this, but you all probably know about it. I didn't realize that hospitals have advisory boards that they can fight for you if your doctors aren't communicating with each other.
Yes, they also in different areas you have patient advocates that will also do the same thing. And before we go any further, I want to say hi, Frank. Can he even hear me?
Nope.
I think
He
he's
might mute
frozen.
it.
Frank,
I think he's frozen, guys.
I hope he's
I am
okay.
frozen.
He is frozen, so he can talk, but see, we're not seeing the person. So I'm glad you voted, Frank. Good job. I think Frank is saying hi to everyone through the chat. So Jennifer, I agree with you that stress can definitely bring on sarcoidosis. So that's one of the things that we definitely need to work on. And I think it was really important that we had the life coaches here for 2 times to teach us different ways to go about it, as well as Miss Chasta telling us to have dance parties and just be silly, because we're normally quote unquote adults. Dan, I don't know about you, but I always for the most part, I'm in the adult world. I don't get to be in the children world anymore, especially since my children are grown. Sometimes you just have to be silly, and it actually brings on good endorphins. Am I correct, Jennifer? That's kind of how you were
That's
saying
not
that?
going to work out for me because my son also has sarcoidosis.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what, Jennifer, if you ever want to reach out to me privately on Facebook, I also run a gentle exercise program on Zoom. I teach seated and non-seated partners. So most of them are seated. So by that I mean they are in wheelchairs. But we were still able to laugh, joke, have some music, and do some stretching. So if you're ever interested in that for anybody, oh, Frank, oh, there he is. Whoop, now he's paused again.
Well, make sure you put the link somewhere
Yeah.
under your name and I'll find it.
Well, the thing is that I invite people to come in, so this way I don't need to lock the room. And Sarcoidosis Long Island has been ever so polite to donate that time to us. So from the Zoom class, so I would just need an email. So you could either always send it to me, either here privately, or hit me up on Facebook and send me a private message. Don't put your email out there.
Okay, sure thing.
Who talked? I'm sorry.
Good for you. That's great.
Thanks, Wendy. Well, I run this other organization. I always tell Frank I'm always too busy, even though I'm not working any longer. So I do Roll Call Wheelchair Dance Long Island, and then Frank has been pulling me more and more into Sarcoidosis Long Island, which I'm not fighting, as you can see, even though I make him think I am. Shh, don't tell Frank.
I was exercising earlier this year, but with all the gyms being closed, I kind of just stuck with work being my only real physical activity. But with this stress, I don't know that I would necessarily be capable of doing anything extra. But any of those exercises, even breathing exercises, definitely help reduce stress.
Mm-hmm. We definitely use not only music, we use a lot of breathing, our core, which I know is weak on myself. Probably not all you gentlemen. All you gentlemen are probably really strong. But, and then upper body. We don't do any lower body because most of my clients or most of the ladies and gentlemen I teach don't have feeling usually from their hips down. So anybody that ever wants to join us, you're more than welcome. I've been trying to get Frank in there for his breathing. See, he's laughing at me again. Frank, unmute yourself. How are you today?
I'm exhausted.
I'm sorry.
This is my fourth conference call today.
Oh,
wow.
After about, I had 4 yesterday too.
Dang.
So
and you need to take care of yourself.
Got any good news for us, Frank?
Not yet.
But the good news is he's here with us.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things like Global Genes they had, and RDLA today had their Rare on the Road. And I did see Regina and Sharon, both Sarcoidosis ambassadors, there. That was nice. But they had about over 200 people on this conference call today. So they're talking about the the advocating, in August. They were talking a lot about that.
But we don't even know if they're going to be open, or do we?
No, but they're going to set up more conference calls with your representatives and senators and stuff like that. So,
all right.
So
that's good.
moving. It's good.
Yeah, so we don't have to go there.
Which would be good. Well, it would be good and bad because I've gotten to get used to Frank, if that makes sense, and pulling up to his house and not having to use my GPS and texting him I'm here and him come running out and then we're off to wherever we're going. So I'm gonna kind of miss you, Frank, not going to those places in person.
I know. Well, we're getting our phase 3 opening tomorrow.
Yeah, we were just talking about how comfortable or uncomfortable we are going out into the world.
Like, it's opened up here, and let me tell you, we drove by a restaurant down the street, and they were not social distancing, and it's, I don't know what.
I heard a
he's gonna
bunch
do
of
now.
places got bunch of places in New York, mid to upstate New York, are getting fined.
Yeah.
Well, over by me in Orland, I see maybe 2/3 of the people outside are staying 6 feet apart. They're not quite ready yet to go inside dining. That'll start Friday, but they're still not following the rules in public.
I feel bad for Florida and Arizona and Texas. Those places are just really going down. Florida has over 100,000 positive tests now. Not good.
And they were one of the first to open up, weren't they?
Yeah, sure were.
Yeah, well, that's why the beaches. Everybody wanted the beaches, and yet might have been better to skip it this year.
Yeah.
You know what, though? There's a lot of selfish people out there because we have like people campaigning, about going out without their mask on and stuff, and their right to do it. And I think it's just so selfish.
Yeah, I get a lot of that too. People saying that they shouldn't have to wear a mask. Only employees should wear a mask. The public doesn't have to. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
None whatsoever. Well, it goes back to what people are used to dealing with. And the fact is, regular people who haven't been sick don't know how to deal with the stresses. And one of the stresses that I think I can deal with better, like wearing the mask all the time, is because I'm already used to dealing with difficult things on a regular basis. Regular people, they just aren't. And so they think it's a nuisance and they don't understand the science. So they'd rather just go without and make it about rights they never really had in the first place.
Just so you guys know, there are going to be, I think there's 2 more surveys coming out, not just sarcoidosis surveys, 2 rare disease surveys that I think that, we should fill out because it's going to really help the rare disease community, which helps us. So I will be starting to pass those around once I get those. And then still waiting on the sarcoidosis survey to come in. And that should be coming in within the next week or next week. Yeah, I think next week. So, but just so you guys know, there will be a bunch of surveys that I'm going to be passing around through Facebook and on my, if you're on my email list also.
So Frank, how do you feel about eating out? Meaning actually going to a physical place and eating outdoors even?
No, not going near it. No,
Kenny, what
thank
about you?
I haven't done a normal thing out, so I go out to get nutrition and doctor's appointments, which, you have to choose your poison. So this January 23rd, I've seen 130 chiropractor visits, massage visits, specialist visits, imaging, procedures, tests, blood work. It's, that in and of itself drives me crazy because that's the riskiest thing to do is go into a healthcare establishment. It's where the sick people are. So yeah, just dealing with it.
Yeah, today was actually the first day I've been out and around people, and that was a fiasco today. It was so bad.
So what happened when you went to vote?
First of all, I had to go to Sachem East to vote. and which is like, if for people who don't know Long Island, it's like a university. They had no signs of where you're supposed to park. They had no signs of what door you go in. We ended up parking on the total opposite side, and then some guy caught us. Thank God. We started walking, and he was like, "No, get in your car and pull around." Well, to get into that parking lot, it was blocked off, so we couldn't get into the parking lot either. So it was just, and then I get there, and I sign my name in and all that other stuff, and the computer froze up, so I couldn't get my number to which one I'm voting on. So I had to sit there for another half an hour until the computer booted up. So
You didn't want to do the absentee ballot?
I was too late. I just lost track of time, and it was too late for me.
And you were sick, if I'm correct.
Yeah, at that point when it came out, I was sick, so I just forgot about it. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. You heard like 3 or 4 people screaming voter, what is that? Suppression, voter suppression. I'm like, come on, they just made a mess. That's all it is. Because
It's like going to the DMV, right?
It's a Democrat thing. It's not like it's Democrat Republican. So why would they mess it up? It's just the same party. So yeah, but
was it crowded?
Yeah, because they didn't even have that many of those white boxes where you can where you vote in. They only had about, I think I counted 8 of them. And when I got in there, 7 of them were taken. By the time I finally went in, there was about 5 still taken.
And do they clean those?
Yeah, they cleaned them into each person.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm. But it was hot as heck in there. No AC.
Did you have to use the same pen, Frank?
They wiped the pens down too. They wouldn't like as soon as somebody left, they wouldn't let you go into the thing until they cleaned it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And were the workers wearing a full mask and everything? Or
yeah, everybody working there was wearing a mask. Yes.
Okay.
There was one person who came to vote that didn't wear a mask, but everybody else was wearing a mask, even coming in.
It's crazy that people just don't want to wear masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in public.
Because it won't hurt them. Don't you know that by now?
Dan, how are you feeling about going out to eat?
I haven't been going out much at all. I go to the hardware store sometimes with the mask on if I need to do something around the house. Aside from that, just like Kevin, just health, related things. I pretty much have been sticking close to home. However, we do have a vacation planned in August toward the end. My mother-in-law paid for that, so it is in Gulf Shores on the beach. But I have all intentions of staying, far more than 6 feet away from people. I'm not gonna hang out around a bunch of people. That's for sure.
Because you're on prednisone,
I'm not right now.
No, I thought you were. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I was asked if I wanted to start it, and we kind of decided just at this point, just since my scan came back again, and they said they haven't seen much change. We'll just wait it out and see how we are again in 4 months. So.
Oh, Dan, that's good news too.
It is good, but I don't know what this extra stress is coming from. Like,
well,
I feel weighted down.
I know. I have when I first got diagnosed, my anxiety was 99.9% of the worst of it. So if you can get on like an app for Headspace or try to get that anxiety down, you'll feel so much better. And admit to yourself that you have this anxiety and then let it go.
Yeah.
No,
I try.
It's just something that's happening in your system, and you're going to have to acknowledge it and just, I just started meditating, and there's a reason for it. There really is.
Yep.
I did it in the past. I've tried several things. I
Have
don't
you tried
know. Sometimes,
training?
What,
go ahead.
Kevin?
I'm sorry.
A technique I picked up out of Calm, what they call it rain. So you recognize it. Okay, I'm feeling stressed. You allow it to happen. Right? You're just observing because it's automatic, right? It's going to happen anyway. So just this time, just observe it. Be with it.
Yeah.
Investigate it. Get curious about it. Figure out where it's coming from. What else is going on? When you think about that, does it bring anything else up? And then nurture yourself through it. And you can come out the other side feeling better about it and a lot less stressed. It's helped in some really white knuckle kind of moments in the past few months.
Yeah. I've been off and on with anxiety for several years, but I mean, when you're in that moment of anxiety, it's so much harder than what you're describing right now. Well, for me anyway.
Yeah.
How
Now,
sometimes it feels like your life's
let me
ending
stop you
while you're
there
in the
right
middle of it.
now before you continue. Everybody has different symptoms, and even when we have the same symptoms, you cannot say that yours are any less than anybody else's. Our experiences are all sarcoidosis. Whether doctors can specifically prove that it was sarcoidosis or not. Because a lot of things like the flares sometimes happen just from anxiety and stress. And there's no
Yeah.
test for all the things that happen to us. There just isn't. So give yourself a break.
Yeah, and
But what do you
everybody.
do?
Go
Go ahead.
ahead,
I'm sorry.
Dan. No, please go ahead.
No, for example, like the other day, sometimes it's worse than others, obviously. But the other day, I was going for Father's Day on a Saturday before Father's Day to hang out with my dad, go to breakfast. And long story short, I wound up at Walgreens to pick up a card for him. And I froze and I couldn't leave that parking lot for a good half hour before I could get myself together. I just couldn't. My headspace was terrible. I don't know.
And you know what? You
And
can't
so,
put yourself. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and a couple days later, I still feel weighted down from that attack. I still feel the stress, and my body's real heavy in the limbs, and I feel hot. I don't know. I'm just not doing so good, I guess.
That all sounds very familiar. Although mine currently is in my neck, which I cannot ever seem to get the tension to leave now. Like I said, it happens to everybody differently, but it's still happening. So yes, that's still very, very much like what we all deal with.
Like I feel like I'm getting hot flashes.
Yeah.
Each one of us is different, and it does linger. And probably I'm not a psychologist, but
Yeah.
maybe because even though our consciousness has seen it, we acknowledge it, but maybe our subconscious is still making us feel guilty for something that we really have no control over whatsoever. And again, I'm not a psychologist in any aspect. I'm just, because I've thought this through as well, so why can't I order out? Frank told me, back in what, end of March, beginning of April, that you were ordering out, and he's done it not every day, but somebody has either gone to pick it up or they've delivered it to his house, or he's gotten actually free food from neighbors, that he can't find, but he gets a whole bunch of Taco Bell. Remember that, Frank? See, I still remember your stories. I actually listened to you. So, why am I at that point, to the point where my 23-year-old son can't order out food? My husband can't order out food. I just can't yet. And it can actually send you into a flare. I have caught myself a few times when I've actually touched base with Frank, and he's like, well, you've been thinking that way for a while now. And he's like, that's why you're in the flare. That's his opinion, and it's probably mine too. He's probably 110% correct. So, I don't know how to get that out of our subconscious. If you come up with a way, I'll be willing to listen, if that makes any sense. But Jennifer is right. each one of us goes through this, and it's just different levels.
God.
You know, it really is.
But you're so right, Kathy. You're like hitting it right on the nose.
One thing I would say is that even with it happening, sometimes you just got to go with it. I just, let it happen, but then kick back, because there's a lot of times where I'll get into that either very anxious or very depressed state. I'll let it run its course for a day, and then I start over. Okay, and like with Kathleen not wanting to do the takeout or whatever, that's just accept it. Don't worry about it. When you're ready, you'll do it. That's the best way I could describe it.
I know, but the outside people like Daniel and Joe, and they're like, well, why can't you? And I'm like, I just can't. I'll cook every goddamn meal, and that's what I've done, So,
Spoiled.
yeah, Wendy sees my Facebook pictures. So, but Wendy, that's why when I first met you, and you were looking for the help, and you were, I don't want to say desperate, but you so wanted that help, and that's why I wanted to help you as much as possible, and that's on a continual basis. That's who we are. We're helpers. And then once you get over your humps and you become, I don't want to say one with sarcoidosis, because you know what? I don't think any one of us, if we could get rid of it tomorrow, none of us would say, hey, let's hold on to it. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you feel more comfortable knowing what you have, and here's the thing, just when you get comfortable with the level that you're at, all of a sudden, true or false, Frank, it's going to come up and kick you in the rear end and surprise the dickens out of you. And you're like, seriously? Now what? But that's where, and Wendy, this is where I have found this community, Frank, and so many others so helpful. Dan, if you're on Frank's Facebook, you can always, friend request me. Wendy has, just like Frank, I'm on almost all the time. It's what we do. It's who we are and how we care. And you know what? Hopefully I will still be here, but you're going to be there one day where you're going to see a new Wendy or a new Kevin or a new Kathleen or a new Frank, and you're going to be like, hey, gotcha. I will help you with every turn. Every time I got a new diagnosis, Frank, what did I do? I reach out to him. I always called him, Facebooked him, texted him. I'm like, damn it, now I have small fiber neuropathy due to this dang thing. And he's like, all right, what medication? And then we kind of work it out, and it's what becomes. And Wendy, that's why it was so important when Frank asked me to even be part of this support group. Yeah. I don't think I've ever said no to you. Have I, Frank?
Nope.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, you guys are you're very sweet people, so thank you.
Yeah, exactly, Dan. I agree with you.
Don't tell my secrets.
One thing though, Dan, what I would tell you is the more you fight this, the worse you're going to be. Okay? So just like I said, how I'm saying, let it go, let it be. If you're anxious, you're anxious. If you're depressed, you're depressed.
Yeah.
Now, if it goes on for a couple of weeks or or a month, then yeah, of course. I mean, I could tell you, I just talked to my counselor. I talk to her every Wednesday. So I talked to her last Wednesday. I was not in a good mood Wednesday. Yet Thursday we had the meeting. So I've gotten a lot better with the fact of being able to turn it on and off. But it took me a long time. When I first got this disease, I was really down in the drain. Really, it was really bad. But that's why I started the organization, because I didn't want anybody else to be like that, and that's why we are here as an organization and other people here. I think having this meetings has actually been better for a lot of people because we could all rely on each other, and it's not just you're trying to get in touch with one person. Now you got 7, 8, 9, 10 people who are all feeling the same way, and don't be
Frank,
afraid
it's a
to talk
wonderful
about it.
thing.
Don't be afraid to talk about it, Dan. And if you want to talk about it here, the only place that we do record it and that we get a recording of it, it only goes on that one page that is already private. The Sarcoidosis support group meeting one, it's on that page and that's private, so only we can see it. So if
Good.
you have anything to say, don't ever feel like you can't say things. That's one thing. You'll find. I mean, I'm sure you've seen. I talk about everything, but it took me a long time to get that way. So don't expect it all to come right away, and just don't fight it. The more you fight it, the more anxious you're gonna get. That's
Well,
the best
thank you
strategy.
again.
No problem.
And I'll be
And
honest. Oh, I'm sorry, Jennifer. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Frank is absolutely correct about all that. And hearing people tell you the same kind of symptoms that you're dealing with is exactly what helps, because everywhere else in our life, people don't understand.
Oh, it's so good. Goes so good, Jennifer. This is a good meeting. It's small. It's great.
I agree, Wendy. And Dan, Wendy, I don't still talk about everything. I may tell Frank, but in order, and of course, my husband knows what's going on, but he can't understand. There's no clue. Frank knows that I have tried homeopathic, I've tried holistic. Some things work better than others for a symptom, but I don't know. I don't know why I don't talk about everything that I have. I still haven't figured that out psychologically. Maybe because if I verbalize it, it's true. I don't know. I really don't know the honest answer. I'm sure Frank could psychoanalyze me if he wanted to, if he wants to. But why do you think I don't talk about those things? Because I don't want the
I'll
media?
say I agree with that too.
Because you're
If
not
I
ready.
talked about every single thing that happened to me, it would probably be very depressing.
Yeah,
So
and your
I
body has to
make
be
bullet
ready for it.
points.
I think a lot of people feel real vulnerable to like some sort of judgment or attack.
Yeah, we're in a judgmental society. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, for a guy's not supposed to be anxious. A guy's not supposed to be depressed. The guy's not supposed to cry. Blah blah blah. And then it's the same thing about women. Women are so strong. The women are the ones who take care of the household. They're the ones that stay calm in the household. Stop the stereotypes. That's all they are. The stereotypes.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, and like there's only certain people I say things to also, and in this room I'll say things because a lot of us know how each other feels about it. But if my brother asks me how I'm doing okay. I'll say that every time because it's just part of your body. I mean, you don't want to bring everybody else down with you. But here,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm gonna bring anybody down if I do talk about it. And I hope nobody thinks that I'm getting down because you talk about it. Because no, to me, it's like I know exactly what you guys are talking about, or I've been there, or I'm there now. I've been with the lady Debbie who did the meeting with us. I've been with her since 2011. So 9 years now.
You're
Uh,
lucky.
yeah,
You are so lucky.
she's amazing. But I mean, if you ask her how many years it took me to get everything out, it took me about 9 years. But but one thing she did tell me, and that's why I keep on saying that, is she told me not to fight it. When you're ready, you will talk about it. If you start fighting yourself and say, I need to talk about it now, and your mind's not ready, it's just going to make it more anxious. Like, it's kind of that thing, like before you get diagnosed, it's a fear of the unknown. Yeah, and that's what Dan, you're at now. And everybody that's just getting started with sarcoidosis, they're in that same boat. Is the fear of the unknown. You didn't know what's going to happen. All I know is I am sick, and I can't do what I used to be able to do. So it took. I mean, like I said, it took a long time. But each person's different with that. Whether you can break out of it right away, if not, don't worry about it. That's the whole thing. If you don't, just don't worry about it, because all that does is add extra pressure onto you. So if you don't, if you feel anxious, just even tell your family, I'm not feeling right. Talk about it right now. And when I am, that, cause I ask my wife, she knows, I'll tell her, just let me be for a little bit. And then she will. I'll go upstairs into the room and watch TV or whatever, do whatever. And just, that communication, I think, is very much needed between your family. Because even my brother, he'll call me, oh, why don't you come over? We're having, not recently, but before the corona, why don't you come over? We're having a party. I don't feel good. I can't make it. Sorry. So so it's like I said, it'll take a while, but don't worry. Don't really worry about it. You'll get there, Dan.
Hey, is there any way that we could have her back again?
Oh yeah, Debbie said if whenever we I'll give her a call this week. Actually, I'm talking to her tomorrow, so I'll try to make one up for the next month meetings.
How do you get these people to do this?
Well, Debbie, like I said, Debbie is my counselor, so she's helped me out a lot. And then I have somebody I went to school with who's actually New York State on the New York State board for counsel as a counselor. So I've been talking with her. She's actually going to send me a bunch of stuff of not just for New York, but for about how to help yourself when you're ill. She actually has rheumatoid arthritis, so she knows how that is, and she's been training working with people who have chronic illnesses. So she's going to send me stuff. I just talked to her the other day. So people want to help. They want to. It's harder to get the doctors because they're always so busy. But getting the counselors want to help. They really do. It's like Debbie said, it's kind of ingrained in anybody she can help, she'll try to help. But
how do you guys deal with little flare-ups? For example, I have a bunch of little tiny red dots on my feet, and if you Google it, it's never a good answer, right?
Yeah.
But like if you Google it, I have leukemia, but I don't think I do. But how do I deal with that? I don't want to go to the doctor every time something I feel little that could maybe clear up in a week or two.
Well, what you could do is talk to your doctor. A lot of times, the doctor will give you a prednisone cream, steroid cream, and you just rub it on, and it'll go away. So you can talk to a doctor about that, and you could keep that. So this way, anytime it does flare up, you can just put it on there. And it's not like ingesting prednisone. It's really just on your skin.
Yeah,
so. And
it's like the skin corticosteroid.
Yeah, exactly. And it really, because I get them all on my shins like crazy, and that's what I use, and then it usually.
What is it?
It's an inflammation. It's inflammation.
It's sarcoidosis of the skin for all intents and purposes, because I've had it biopsied.
Yeah.
So, and that's painful.
Mine's never been biopsied. They just look at it and they shake their head, and it's it.
Yeah, but I mean.
It depends on how many times you've been biopsied. If you've been
exactly.
biopsied as
I
many
haven't
times
been.
as me,
That's the only
then
part
they
I've
look.
been biopsied on.
Well, the thing is you can biopsy every little thing in your body, and is it really worth it if they're gonna treat
Exactly.
it like
It makes our flares worse sometimes.
Well, yeah, biopsy in your body is not good for your body. B is that if they're going to treat it as sarcoidosis anyway, so why why are you going to biopsy it anyway at this point?
And at this point, I've had
Frank-
like 7 biopsies: 2 skin, 3 lungs, and 2 on my legs.
Hey, I had the bone biopsy. Don't ever try that one.
No, no way. Please.
That hurts.
That was worse than the getting the lumbar puncture, which hurts. But the bone one was that was no. I would
Nasty.
never try.
I had a spleen
And I had-
biopsy. They told me I wouldn't feel anything. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Oh, they actually
the
did a
needle's
spleen
like this
biopsy.
big.
Yeah.
You actually had a spleen biopsy, huh?
Yeah, it was a guided CT spleen biopsy. Yeah.
Oh, cool. See, I wanted one of those, but they wouldn't let me. Because, like I said,
Well,
when
I mean,
to that point, they just guess. Yes, it's probably
Okay.
sarcoid, based on wherever else it is.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, like I said, the more times you biopsy, the more times you're opening your body to get more sarcoidosis, aggravate the sarcoidosis, and it'll travel other to. If you didn't have it there, guess what? Audra, you're gonna get it there now.
I know, isn't that strange how it does that? It amazes me sometimes when I'm looking it up how it acts almost like cancer, but it's not.
yeah.
How it spreads, but it
Spreads
doesn't.
just like it.
It's not like
If
cancer, though.
if you have the tendency to develop skin sarcoidosis, it's common to get it in your tattoo. If you get a tattoo, it can get lumpy. If you get a cut, it can form in the scar tissue.
Yeah. You
So
got to
that's
remember
not a problem at all. And that pathogen's not there. That's a sterile immune response that's tripping up sarcoidosis to get kicked off in that area.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
Yeah, I know, but
it's your
what
white
I
blood
meant
cells.
was that it seems to spread much like cancer. Let me rephrase that.
It spreads. I know mine is spreading to my interstitial tissue. So it's like you got the muscle on one side and your skin, and there's a little bit of space in there, and it's all lymph, and that's where it lives. It's part of the immune system.
Yep. Yeah,
And
I mean,
it gets through there and finds a way into your heart. It's a bad day.
Yeah, I have.
You end up with an ICD and ventricular tachycardia, and they're expecting heart block. So
yeah, it's pain.
that all changes overnight, just like that.
Yeah, if it's in your lymph nodes, it's pretty much everywhere else because we have no way of cleansing our lymph nodes yet. Let's all hope for that.
Prednisone for the win. Knock it out. 30 days. I get my next scan in 30 days, mid-July.
Yeah, well, I was told I would be on 60 days, and now I've been on almost 7 months, so I don't know.
Hey, I did everything I can. I got rid of any pro-inflammatory thing, took anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, totally changed the diet, total elimination, no bread, just crazy over the top. And I feel better. You talk about like this fire spreading over the past month of doing this. I feel like the fire that's been burning and moving throughout my body is like quenched, like the forest fire's been put out. I think it's as much the prednisone as any anti-inflammation thing I'm doing, but that's what I'm hopeful.
I think it's the prednisone with me. It's really helped me.
Yeah. Oh, it's very powerful. It does
Made
a
me
lot.
but made me really rich, but it's helped.
It's a very short honeymoon. My divorce, like within 2 weeks, I'm like, whoa, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I know.
I have been able to stay away from the weight, though. Thank you. I'm grateful for that. If I got to put on my gratitude list, I'm grateful I've lost 28 pounds since I started this adventure.
Exactly, Kevin.
That's great.
Keep on being positive about what's going on good in your body.
Yeah, I never really got your body as your temple until I'm having to rehab it while I'm trying to live in it. It needs a total overhaul.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there's that.
We all see that on our thing that it's probably not Frank because he's always been thin, but mine says obese. I'm like, oh, okay. So I have lost 20 pounds since only cooking my own food. Thank you very much. Actually, 22 today. But yeah, so that's a positive. And I've pretty much cut out sugars, but I've cut out a lot of stress too because I'm not working.
Kathleen, you make so much stuff with sugar, though.
Oh, but all of that is usually a natural sugar that I use, Wendy. So anything I'm cooking, yeah, like even the bread that I make, the Italian bread and stuff like that, there is no sugar in it. And if I'm using wheat flour and it's unbleached and it's organic and all that kind of stuff, you're getting less in it, if that makes sense. Everything that I cook is made at home. So if I need a chicken broth, I make that at home. I don't buy the chicken broths. And if I do need to buy a chicken broth, which I never go out to the store, but then I'll pick up organic chicken broth and usually lower sodium. So, and then not use any salt on top of it. But yeah, I know, Wendy. I like to cook and I like to bake. It is who I am. But I'm kind of tired of both those things right now, so I need a break. I don't know, Frank. We'll see. We'll see if I hit Facebook saying I ordered out. We'll see on Saturday or Sunday. Joe's birthday is Sunday, and we're just by ourselves. So I figured, what better day, especially since he wants. What does he eat? And actually, he might order out, but I might not. That'd be a cheat, wouldn't it? He likes sushi. So I was thinking of ordering. I don't do sushi. I don't do fish. I don't do any of that. So, and what else is going on, guys? I see Dan put himself on quiet temporarily, and Kevin, Wendy too. Wendy,
I'm
what's
still
going
here.
on? Okay.
I had to take care of a biological need. My bladder
Okay.
to empty out every 30 minutes.
No worries. I have a small bladder too. I get it. I know. So Kevin,
on the list of many things that have gone south in
What I
2020.
was just talking about. It sounds like he's on beta blockers.
What's that?
So not only is he on steroids, he's on beta blockers. Are you on
Yeah.
beta blockers? Is that
Yes.
what they have you taking?
I'm on a cocktail, but it's primarily a statin, a beta blocker, metoprolol to suppress my heart rate, and this prednisone. They're the three major ones, and then some antipsychotic, antidepressant cocktail for my poor brain, which isn't working.
Oh, Kevin,
So what
what kind of statin are you on? What is it? Can I?
Well,
the
it sounds like it's blockers. I treat it because I have.
Jennifer, we're losing you.
I think my electrical system is off. That's my opinion.
there's thunderstorms in the area.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me now?
Okay, sorry.
Love those commercials.
Rains, what are you gonna do?
You know what? It is
Right?
what it is.
Well, I love my phone, not always my
I
son.
can fight it, or I could be like, what is it? A water to a pebble. Right? There's no more, no less resistance. It just happens, and it just rolls the punches. Because any resistance is futile.
Exactly.
Well,
I always
If
do
you
the same
persist,
thing.
it will persist. So
Yeah. Like I always say, every time I get a different diagnosis, let's try this new norm. That's the best way to do it.
I'm really into scales right now. So like when I was starting this whole journey, I started looking back, trying to go back as far as I could remember. Because I have a couple of data points that tell me that I've had this for probably 35 years.
wow.
And it was only found 10 years ago. And so, like, what was that like back in college when they told me I had restricted lung function at a co-op physical in Louisiana, working at a chemical plant, breathing all kinds of nasty crap all summer long. Good move. So there was already like some evidence that there was some restrictive thing going on. So I went all the way back to there and kind of stopped. But then traced forward, looking at like what was going on in my life, and they have this Holmes and Ray stress scale. It's like, how stressful is your life? and major events like a divorce or death in the family and things like this. And I was able to trace back like major flare-ups, including my skin cancer in like 2006, to like major career or life events, all the way up until the January accident, which I'm counting as like another stressor with these consequences. But yeah, stress is a huge thing in the whole picture. And if you're not equipped to deal with it, then you're not going to be as resilient when it hits. And that's I kind of fell into that trap. I left myself vulnerable without the right tools to deal with loss of a family member and really cleaning up some character issues that should have been addressed a long time ago, and making everybody else wrong, and there's just a whole laundry list of things that you can make a real mess of if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So I left myself vulnerable, and now I've got to change that. So how do I make myself less vulnerable, more empowered, more in control, more influential, at least, on where my life is going? And that's what this weekend's all about.
Yeah. I like everybody always says, how come you're always smiling? I'm like, what is the other option?
Yeah, if I ain't smiling, then throw dirt on my face, right? Because I'm done.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really all you have is like the power right now to choose to be how you're going to be about whatever is in front of you right now. That's all you can do.
Yep.
Over and over and over again. And I can choose how I be about that. I can choose to be happy any moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can choose to be compassionate. I can choose lots of ways of being, but that's the one thing you have a choice about.
Yeah.
Not the circumstances.
That's one of the first things that we really worked on when I was working with my counselor is stop thinking about what is going to happen. Think about what is happening right now. You can't.
Stay in the moment.
You cannot. You cannot change what's going to happen. It's going to happen whether you like it or not.
Right.
Is everybody?
Now,
That
go ahead.
nice and small.
Hmm.
Awesome.
I think my biggest resistance is medication. Right, Frank? That's probably my biggest resistance is medication. I do not like to take medication. I love prednisone. I'm not on prednisone. For whatever reason, on prednisone, I start losing weight. I proved it to Frank, by the way. I don't know how I lose weight on prednisone, but go figure. And I feel like Superwoman on it. As far as any of the other drugs, methotrexate, the Remicades, all that kind of stuff, I've really been fighting taking any of that. I do try to do things most holistically or homeopathically and, research everything. I think that's how I got it. Yes, my love.
How do you do that? How do you, if your doctors have a plan for you to go on these medicines, how do you go and do what you're doing?
Well, usually because I have two of them that are fighting, so we'll start there. So the rheumatologist wants me on Remicade, which is an infusion. And Dr. Morgenthau, who's my sarcoidosis specialist, says that I should go on methotrexate. So I told the two of them they need to talk, and I need a final decision from both of them. If it's methotrexate, we'll discuss it. But Wendy, honestly, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. Frank would probably be at a better, maybe as long as 5. No, it's got to be. No, it's only 2 years since I've done it, but at least 3 or 4 when I met my homeopathic doctor. And he's here in Port Jefferson that I like. And we try different out-of-the-box things. And I do tell my normal doctors what I'm doing because I can't throw them for a loop if I'm going for an endoscopy or a colonoscopy. And I got to tell them the honest, that I'm taking arnica for swelling and stuff like that. So it was through a homeopathic doctor. And Wendy, P.S., they're not covered under insurance. So I met this one doctor. I'm an oddball. I'm a big enough zebra that he's willing to do it for really no money for me. So again, because he gets to write a paper, but here's the thing, in 2 years, he has not been able to lessen my sarcoidosis. I've been stagnated at times on different things like my lungs, but yet it's in my heart and I have small fiber neuropathy. So is it really lessened, or is it just lessened in that one area? You know, that's the question that I have. So, but I continue with him because I do believe in certain things like allergy medications and stuff like that. I do it all holistically. This way, it doesn't interfere with if I need to go on methotrexate or Remicade or anything like that.
Yeah, because I'm starting I think my Remicade next week.
Is anyone else on the call doing any homeopathic, functional medicine stuff to try and alleviate some of the, if not the primary sarcoidosis?
Yes, I did. I
But
did the marijuana last week, and it made me feel great. It took the pain, all my inflammation, my pain away for 4 days. But it didn't my mind no good.
What did you do, Wendy?
Marijuana.
Oh, okay. I do that on a normal basis, but I do edibles. I don't do smoking.
An edible.
Yeah, well, mine became an edible.
How did that happen?
Cookie.
Paul cooked it up in the stove.
Oh, perfect.
What
Perfect.
is it? A brownie?
So,
a little happy tea.
you know, I find that indica definitely works for me at nighttime. Sleep is anywhere from 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, but
I get the insomnia at night, and then I'm up in the morning, and you look at it, it's like, 3 or 4 hours. And then other times, like this week, I had 2 nights where I was able to actually sleep for 7 hours. I'm like, whoa, what happened? From day to day.
wow. I wish.
Well, I can
So
tell
I'm grateful
you
for that.
a few weird things that I'm taking that are herbal. I take milk thistle, which was recommended, turmeric, and I take black seed oil, which one of my doctor's patients tried, and it's supposed to be good for boosting your immune system and mild anti-inflammatory effects. Everybody knows what turmeric does.
Yeah. Got the
Yeah,
security.
and the milk thistle I'm taking for my liver, which seems to be helping. So at least
I
that
can't
part's
take
going
the
good.
flax.
And how
I
is
can't
that
take the
helping?
flaxseed or the turmeric. It just bothers my stomach so bad.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to make sure anything that you are taking holistically is from a gelatin capsule and it doesn't have a lot of oddball things in it. You know, to try and keep it as clean as possible because our bodies are sure messed up. So I think keeping it clean is good.
Everything I get is certified organic, so that's not a problem with me.
Yeah, it's that was a big change for me too. That, just in the last few weeks, I'm like, you mean my vegetables have to be organic and they have to be washed when I take them home? They're like, yep, absolutely.
It definitely does help.
Yeah, you're just trying to remove, and it's not even like those chemicals are causing your sarcoidosis, but they're a stressor on your body. The pesticides,
Absolutely.
the
I've
rest of
told
it, right?
people at work who snub me because
Yeah.
they think I feel better because I'm eating organic, that I eat
No,
organic because I don't want to put extra stress on my already broken body.
and by the way, I'm sorry, but the nutritional value of all of that is a fraction of what it used to be when we were growing up.
I know I grew up with a garden, and you're
Yeah,
probably absolutely correct.
and the industrial food production, the beef, it's not healthy. So it's part of the elimination diet right now, and I got to figure out what to feed back in over time. But I agree with you with the organics.
Well, with the meat, I tend to eat a lot of chicken, But when I do eat beef, I make sure it's organic, grass-fed. It has to be both. Otherwise, I can't tolerate it at all.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed going to the organic and going to the grass-fed that it's easier to digest.
Yes.
I had Father's Day. Oh, grass-fed filet mignon. It was a happy day. I kind of took a break from my elimination diet and was like, nope, I'm eating this whole steak.
Now I'm totally gonna have to go to the store and buy a steak. Thanks.
You're welcome. It should be worth it.
You have Wegmans? You guys have a Wegmans?
We do.
No. Oh, I don't. Not on
We have
Long Island.
Wegmans and Whole Foods, so I'm pretty well set for decent
They have
organic.
really good organic food. I grew up with the Wegman family. They have very good, very, very good organic food.
Yeah. I miss the Gennardis around here. That's all. It's going
know what
back.
that is. I don't even know what
It's
that
like
is.
the Wegmans before Acme and ShopRite came in and ruined the whole industry. And then Amazon went, nah, we'll take it, thanks. And then we're right back to, service matters.
Wegmans has a huge organic farm on Canandaigua Lake,
Yep.
and I got 4 great plants from the gardener there, and I put in my backyard, and I got bees, and they stung me, and I had to go to the hospital, and that's what kind of started all my sarcoidosis stuff.
A bee sting?
They're great plants from their organic farm.
Oh. Well, I guess
One
that's
of
full
the
circle.
theories is that something has to trigger the sarcoidosis. So we've all been triggered by something or another.
Right.
Right. I agree, Jennifer.
And I think we're going to find that it's not a thing, it's a class of things. That there's the spectrum of what they're seeing, from silica dust to concrete dust in 9/11 to like herpes virus 8 or 9 or something like that, to viruses and mycobacteria. These are completely different things, but they've all been implicated in patients that have sarcoidosis when they analyze the genetic material that's setting off the immune system. So it's like a whole class. It's going to, a lot of different things.
I'm a housekeeper, so who knows which chemicals affected me.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, dust and bacteria. And I think one of my major reactions was actually in an old cabin. It was a Boy Scout cabin. And the mattress was probably from World War II. And I slept on it, and it was cold, and I woke up, and I was face down, and I couldn't breathe. That was a major event, and that was as far back as we could trace it. But that would have been a dust or a mold spore or something.
Well, my brother was triggered by mold, so that's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
Jennifer, is your brother a twin?
No, he's 4 years younger than me, and his sarcoid is in his spleen only. And my son is in his liver.
Wow. When I went to my rheumatologist last week, she's like, "Are you sure there was nobody in your family that has sarcoid?" Because all my patients there have some kind of family, with sarcoid, and I'm like, "I don't." She goes, "Your father didn't have it, your grandfather, you only had an uncle that had it."
Grandfather? They didn't know what this was 20 years ago.
Yeah. 10 years ago, they were telling me that there was no way that it was an inherited disease.
I think my mom had it. They just called it fibromyalgia because they didn't know what else to do. So yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know where the ashes went.
Me, like, did I have a brother or sister? And then I was thinking back, my father had Alzheimer's, and maybe it was sarcoid. Who knows?
They're similar in the type of material it's building up. So like inflammation is a key driver in dementia and Alzheimer's, and similar to the inflammation is driving a lot of processes.
Now, Wendy, I'll throw you one for you. Yeah. So I'm adopted from Angel Guardian Home in Brooklyn, and I was adopted by this loving family that brought me to Lake Ronkonkoma, New York, where I'm still living. And My brother was adopted from St. Charles Hospital here on Long Island as a private adoption. Okay, I'm the last known survivor. So my mother died of bronchiectasis. My father died of cancer. My brother died of pulmonary fibrosis. If you look up bronchiectasis and pulmonary fibrosis, they're linked with sarcoidosis. So
Oh,
they're not.
absolutely.
So
You know what? That's what we all need to think about in our families is who in the past may have died from sarcoid unknowingly.
But Jennifer, I'm adopted. So how do all three of us, or four of us, technically have lung issues? It has to be something that we all were around. Power
Yeah, that
lines,
does sound environmental. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that I've told Frank I'm still researching that because that's it's just odd that and every time you see a doctor they're like, well, does anybody have sarcoidosis? Does anybody have this? Well, yeah, they do, but I'm adopted, so I'm not even blood relative. So what do you want me to do here or say? So it's strange. I kind of agree with Kevin that it has to be something environmental, something in a dust, something in a mold, something. Does that make sense?
Well, the closest thing to a theory I came up with was that there's some kind of genetic marker in our genes. And those that have it one day can be triggered by some environmental thing that puts our immune system into overdrive. Whatever it is that does that starts the process. And after that, it's all a spitball on what kind of sarcoid you're going to get.
You do know that
Whoever started to speak, you cut out.
Dan.
Kevin?
Yeah, it sounded like someone was trying to get a word in. I was trying to hear.
Dan.
Oh no, Jennifer was talking, I think.
Yeah, why don't you continue? We might have just accidentally done that.
no, it was me. I'm off camera or whatever. I'm her husband. There's a lot of people getting on about Monsanto and glyphosate Roundup. Roundup is registered as an antibiotic as well as a broad spectrum chelator, and they've been using it as not only pesticide on our food but as a desiccant before at harvest. So you're eating, parts per millions that are unbelievable amounts on your food. Could very well be helping to trigger people's sarcoid.
Mm.
What's the name of that chemical?
Round.
Glyphosate.
Roundup?
Yeah, I used
Roundup.
it when I had my landscape.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Roundup.
I used it for 30 years.
You should never ever use it. There's a company called Pulverize. Look up Pulverize on the internet. It's a company that's what do you call it? It's supported by Moms Across America group. Basically, if you're looking for a pesticide or herbicide replacement, Pulverize is about as harmless as it gets, and it works well in vines, creeping Charlie, anything. So you don't have to use Roundup.
Well, it's safe to use directly on our crops now because they genetically modify them to be resistant to Roundup.
And that's the main reason we switched our diet when we found that out.
I spent years going out to Iowa every year doing training classes and seminars and whatever, and to hear the farmers talk about the genetic modified stuff coming out, I'm like, oh, and we're eating that?
No.
So yeah, thank you for that reminder. I'm gonna look up the chemicals in that, and there was a precursor to Roundup. I believe it was Sevin, like Sevin. It was like a really it killed
Yeah,
there's another chemical that they're trying to fight right now. It was part of a component to Agent Orange called dicamba. Monsanto, Bayer, and a few of these companies put together, they mix it together, and they said that it's not your grandfather's dicamba. It doesn't drift and won't kill adjoining farms. And over the past couple of years, there's lawsuits for drift and loss of property. So they've been trying to ban it. They almost got it removed, but the new FDA isn't being very cooperative, and USDA.
It's yeah. But anyway, in terms of if that's a potential agent, then that might be the root cause for me, and it goes all the way back to my childhood where we use that shit like no tomorrow in the backyard and around the
Yeah,
house.
like it was water, which does go into our water system. How many of us are old enough to be part of a well system? I definitely had a well system in my house. Frank's nodding his head yes. So I think the best thing to do is try and cleanse yourself as much as possible now, you know, with your food and drink and whatever else you can do, and see if that helps. It can't hurt, can it?
No.
No, but you know
I
what,
use
Kevin?
a
Even though I
zero
use all these
water.
pesticides,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Kevin.
I said I use like a HEPA filter for my water, where it filters out everything. The filter's like $20 a piece. So I'm using that. I get like 20 gallons, 30 gallons out of that, but it's like pure water. Just to get rid of everything.
For the most part, we just eat certified organic foods, which cannot contain GMOs, or at least GMO verified project food, which also cannot contain GMOs. And a lot of the organic pesticides that are used aren't anything like stuff we're worried about.
There's toxic. There's toxic pesticides that are used on organic stuff, but it's not persistent. It's not petroleum based. It's not allowed to be. The highest they go is slightly synthetic. So in the system that's broken on many levels and many different systems in this country, organic is the very
safest thing
we can have. It's not perfect. People are like, well, you know, cross contamination. Yeah, that's true.
It's possible. Yeah,
you got to do what you can.
Yeah.
But you know what, Jennifer, I have my own organic garden. I use Burpee's organic, so I'm hoping that's okay. And
that's yeah. I heard everything you said. You eat better than I do. I don't make things from scratch. I'm not the cook. My husband is.
Just be careful when you're growing your garden. When you buy what's considered organic, there's nothing certain unless you get OCF or OCF or OCF. I can't remember the initials. It's a certified company. They make sure that soil and potting stuff is certified for organic use. There's even a Miracle Grow certified for organic use. But you need to watch out for bone meal and blood meal and feather meal. Those are not certified. They could be fed, they call them natural, but they could be fed. They could come from animals that were fed GMOs and sprayed with pesticides and all kinds of crap. And you're putting that in your garden. So as natural as it sounds, it's not actually.
You know, I used to do that in my gardens before, and they didn't do well. So this year I used mushroom mulch, and that worked a lot better.
There you go.
There you go. And it even worked better.
Yeah, no nitrogen coming out. That's got to be crazy.
And that might be another topic that we could maybe get somebody in on is organics and things like that, you know, to help us with that. But on that note, I think we're at 8:33. Am I correct, Frank?
Yes.
So I think we're going to bring it to a close. When is our next one? Good question. Let's see. July 7th, which is a Tuesday. Am I correct, Frank?
Yep.
We don't have another one on a Thursday?
Nope.
That's going to be in July, because we're already at the end of June just about. Yeah,
that's what today was for, right? Today was swapped for Thursday.
Correct, because Thursday, the next week on Thursday will be July 2nd. So
our next one isn't until, hold on a minute, it's actually later than the 7th.
Our Tuesday class is on the,
the 7th, yeah. It's the first Tuesday.
Right, the first Tuesday. And then we should be, am I correct, on the 23rd? Or, no, it would be the 16th.
No, the 16th.
Okay. So,
and then the 28th.
All right, so hopefully we will see everybody on July 7th. Have a very happy and safe 4th of July, please. Everybody wait for Frank.
My birthday's on the 3rd, so I got a party.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday in advance, Frank.
Thanks.
I'll bring you an organic cake.
It was nice seeing everybody and talking tonight. You guys all have a great one.
I hope we
Thank
see
you, guys.
you next time, Jennifer.
Yep, I'll be there.
Thank you.
Bye, Dan. Bye, Kevin. Bye, Wendy. Bye, Frank. Bye, Jennifer.
Buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.